Members, we now have before us Senate File 1195. Senator Ingebrigtsen.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Senate File 1195, and we have some testifiers here with us today, both for and against the bill. This is what's been called the plastic bag bill, if you will, throughout the halls of our establishments here this year. The banning of the bag, whatever you want to call it. I think everybody's pretty familiar with it. Section 1 of the bill prohibits local governments from adopting ordinances that would ban merchants from providing customers paper, plastic, or reusable bags. It also prohibits local governments from imposing a fee or tax on merchant-provided bags. The effective date is May 31st, 2017, and it validates any ordinance that is enacted before that effective date. Section 2 is an appropriation plastic bags recycling pilot project, appropriates $20,000 from the Environmental Fund to the Pollution Control Agency for grants to local governments for plastic bag recycling pilot projects. Two of the grants will be for local units of governments, and 2 of them in the urban areas as well as 2 in the rural areas. With me today are again the testifiers in favor of this bill. The first one we'll hear from is from the Minnesota Grocers Association. So if we can move forward with those, Ms. Poole.
Welcome to our testifiers, and if I could remind you to please identify yourself for the tape, and welcome to the committee, and you may proceed.
Thank you, Chairwoman Ruud and members of the committee. Good morning. I am Jamie Poole, President of the Minnesota Grocers Association, and as Senator Ingebrigtsen said, I'm here to speak in support of Senate File 1195. The MGA is a state trade association representing the retail food industry. We have over 300 members with 1,200 locations statewide. Our members include grocers, convenience stores, wholesalers, manufacturers, and anyone that supports the industry. We are incredibly proud to be a part of the communities we serve, and our environmental responsibility is one of our priorities. Local bag restrictions have the potential to interfere with positive efforts already underway and create many unintended consequences. For years, we have voluntarily encouraged our shoppers to reduce, reuse, and recycle. We offer plastic bag recycling right at the door. It's a convenient on your way in your way out drop spot. Through these voluntary efforts, millions of pounds of plastic are recycled annually. It should be noted that these recycled products are not just the bags from our stores, but are all of the plastic products used within your home. This is an excellent community service, as curbside is not an option for these products. Our number one concern as an industry is the effect the patchwork of ordinances will have on our customers. Execution at checkout has many complicated layers, such as additional costs for implementation and execution, a slower checkout experience, governmental program restrictions such as SNAP and EBT, the taxation complications, all of which will change our customers' shopping experience and place the burden of policing on our cashiers. Our partners on both coasts have experienced the complications of hundreds of local ordinances and have sought and supported resolution at the state level. In closing, the retail food industry prides itself on its ability to ensure that our customers have all the conveniences and the choice they need and deserve during their shopping experiences. As an incredibly mobile society, customers will make choices that fit their needs. Reducing litter needs to be a commitment from those who litter. We completely support collaborative, voluntary educational opportunities that drive success for our collective goals. We thank Senator Ingebrigtsen for his leadership on this issue and ask that you support Senate File 1195 as it moves forward, and I'm happy to stand for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Poole. Members, we are going to go through our testifiers and then have questions afterwards. So if you would please write down the questions if you have for a testifier and who you'd like that to address that to. We'd appreciate that. And if you look at the list of testifiers, we have a great many people who would like to be heard on this bill. So I would ask folks to be very short, brief, and succinct and to the point today so that everyone whose voices needs to be heard can do that today. Thank you. Mr. Knopf.
Hello, Chairman Ruud and committee. My name is Brian Kopp. I'm Director of Retail Operations for Lunds & Byerly's. We at Lunds & Byerly share a desire to promote a sustainable environment. We would like to continue working with our elected officials to find even more ways for all of us to reduce our environmental impact. We believe we can continue to do so in ways that do not create competitive disadvantages between city borders. Our concerns with the plastic bag ban is that it creates a competitive disadvantage between cities and between residents that live in one city and per se work in another. The financial implications, the additional cost to the businesses, our operational issues, the concerns with how the cashiers deal with it with the consumers and with those on electronic funds. Our sustainability efforts as we today are using them. We encourage reusable bag use. We launched in 2008 a use and reward program for our consumers. To date, we have donated more than $460,000 to Second Harvest Food Shelf, which directly impacts members of the state of Minnesota. We donate 5 cents to Second Harvest Heartland for every reusable bag used within our stores. So far to date, that's been 9.2 million times. Recycling of plastic bags. We're a member of its In the Bag program. We have recycling bins near the front entrance of our stores where consumers can recycle any plastic bag, be it a newspaper bag, a dry cleaning bag, or a competitor's grocery bag. These bags are then sorted by Merrick, which is a nonprofit organization that puts Minnesotans back to work. Recycled into compostable lumber and used by the Trek Corporation in making decking and furniture. Our company operates 26 retail locations across Minnesota and employs over 3,800 folks. We look forward to a bill that supports an even playing field across all cities in the state of Minnesota. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Kopp. I believe we have one more testifier for this bill, Mr. Rush.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Steve Rush, Director of Government Relations for Holiday Companies. We are a family-owned Bloomington-based convenience store company, and next year we will celebrate our 90th year of doing business. We have over 300 corporate and franchise convenience stores in Minnesota located in approximately 160 cities and towns across the state, and we employ more than 4,200 people. We have to be able to offer our customers bags to carry their merchandise. Plastic bags are the cheapest item available and are very popular with our customers. Specifically as to cost, we use both a small and a large plastic bag. A small plastic bag costs us about a penny, and the larger size costs about 2 cents. An equivalent paper bag would double the price to 2 cents, and a large paper bag would cost almost 4 cents more. These amounts may seem small, but I always assess them assuming a statewide ban of plastic bags. If such a scenario were to occur, we have estimated that our total costs could increase by nearly $350,000 annually to convert from the small and large plastic to the small and large paper bags. That does not include the 5-cent fee that one ordinance requires that we collect for each paper bag issued. If we are required to collect 5 cents per bag issued throughout the state of Minnesota, we estimate that figure to be in the high six-figure range, perhaps as much as $900,000. Combining that amount with the increased price for providing paper bags could easily exceed $1 million just for our company, and that's a lot of money. If you spread this around the entire retail community, the economic cost to businesses and customers is quite substantial. We do not like to charge our customers for convenience items such as bags. For now, we will simply absorb the costs issuing a paper bag in whatever city chooses to mandate their use. Obviously, given the numbers that I have just cited, it will be increasingly difficult for us to do that. Minnesota cities are also being very active in regulating other aspects of our business by banning styrofoam cups and legal flavored tobacco products. Along with the expensive employment mandates such as paid sick and safe leave, the cumulative effect of these regulations make it more difficult for us to operate a successful business. I do not take lightly to restrict cities in considering ways in which to improve local communities. However, there is a significant potential that our cities will inadvertently create a bad business environment that only ultimately harms the residents they seek to protect. Therefore, we support Senate File 1195. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam
Mr.
Chair.
Kudelka, welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Chair and committee members. For the record, my name is Kirk Kudelka. I'm Assistant Commissioner for the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency and standing in for Greta Gothi, our Legislative Director. Just real quick, we do oppose the bill. The legislature has placed on counties, cities, and other local units of government the responsibility of managing solid waste. This bill takes a potential tool away from these entities for managing solid waste in their communities that best meet their needs. There are various reasons for a community to consider policies on plastic and paper bags, including reducing of litter, increasing the use of reusable bags to reduce environmental impacts, improving recycling, and increasing the reuse of plastic bags and paper bags. If a community is looking at a policy on this, we do advise them to make sure they have those goals in mind first to tailor whatever policies they may choose to enact or not enact as they move forward. And this has been the case here in Minnesota, where cities have had this conversation. Some of them have decided, one has decided to move forward, and others have not. This bill prevents that conversation from happening at a local level and removes local control. This is a case also where policy would result in a higher impact than the grants, the small grants that are authorized in this bill. A fee, for instance, would send a larger economic signal and change behavior much more than the grants. Our concern, again, is that we're taking away local control and a tool from entities when they have been assigned this task to manage solid waste. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Next up, we have Mr. Gordon and Mr. Vesey.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, I am not Kim Gordon. My name is Gene Ranieri. I am the Director of Government Relations for the City of Minneapolis. Councilmember Gordon is ill today, and I am pinch hitting for him. In April of 2016, the city adopted an ordinance that was intended to reduce litter, waste, environmental impacts, and the expense of managing carry-out bags. This ordinance was a result of extensive community meetings with stakeholders, research, and discussions and public hearings. Yes, this ordinance bans most plastic bags. However, the ordinance does exempt bags that have direct contact with food, specialized types of bags as newspapers and dry cleaning, takeout food bags, things of that nature. The ordinance would take effect on June 1st, 2017. We went through an extensive process of listening, community meetings, listening to comments from both the business and from our constituents. We made this decision. We feel that this is a decision best for our constituents, and we believe that this is a good ordinance, and it also helps us trying to control, because we are responsible for recycling in our city. We also are involved in composting, and we also do collect and control solid waste control. So in effect, we think this is very important as our goal to trying to get to zero waste. We think it also imposes restrictions on local control, and the city of Minneapolis is opposed to this law. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Vesey, and I apologize.
No problem. Hi, pardon me. My name is Keiko Vesey, and I am the board chair for Linden Hills Power and Light, which is a community-based nonprofit that works to address climate change through shrinking our local carbon footprint. And hello, Madam Chairwoman and committee members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in opposition to Senate File 1195, which preemptively prohibits local governments from passing restrictions on the distribution of bags by merchants. What we have here is a perfect opportunity for local governments to innovate and come up with solutions that best address the values of their particular municipality. But why are plastic bag bans a good option in the first place for some cities? Banning plastic bags reduces a community's overall carbon footprint and combats climate change in a very simple way. The production of single-use plastic bags consumes 12 million barrels of oil per year. So banning unnecessary plastic bags reduces our reliance on and use of fossil fuels and the environmental damage associated with that. Banning plastic bags also beautifies our surroundings and protects our local resources. Over the years, I've participated in various cleanup events around Minneapolis, and each and every time there is an astonishing amount of plastic bags that are collected as part of these cleanup efforts. Remains of plastic bags are embedded in the shoreline, stuck in the branches of trees, and blowing across the paths. Yet mostly what's collected are just the shards of bags, shreds of bags. The other parts of the bags are in the lakes, in the creeks, clogging our storm sewers, breaking down into smaller pieces and being consumed by our wildlife and eventually by many of us. Banning plastic bags prevents air pollution, especially in our most vulnerable population. Single-use bags that that do not end up as litter often end up being buried or burned. And even with the best technology, this releases nasty chemicals into our environment. Banning plastic bags saves taxpayer money and increases the efficiency of our recycling processes. Plastic bags inevitably find their way into the recycling stream and clog our recycling and sorting machinery. And this creates significant costs for our recycling processors, which in turn is passed on to taxpayers. In fact, the city of San Jose estimated that plastic bags caused over $1 million of damage per year to their recycling machinery prior to their plastic bag ban. Why would we take away a common sense tool from local governments to control their waste stream and the associated costs? There's a very narrow economic interest working hard here to protect the old way of doing business. And this economic interest doesn't concern itself at all with protecting the environment, human health, or even the efficient use of taxpayer dollars. Its only interest is in protecting the status quo. After all, 100 million single-use plastic bags per year nationwide is a lot of revenue. The industry and retailers will try to say their bags are recyclable, and so there really isn't a problem. But in reality, very few facilities or programs exist for recycling this kind of plastic material, and the vast majority of plastic bags are never recycled. Retailers say that differing local ordinances will be an inconvenient and complicated hassle to administer, but in reality, it's nothing more than a simple point-of-sale transaction. Retailers of all sizes, from co-ops to Targets, have long offered a discount when customers bring in their own bags, including the program touted by Lunds and Byerly's here today. Other retailers have a system whereby customers pay for their own bags when they come in, like if they don't bring their own bags, like Aldi or IKEA. This is not an issue of education, especially one that could be solved by 4 paltry grants of $5,000. Local governments have over 10 years and 150 other local governments' experiences and lessons to build on. The Minneapolis ordinance reflect many of those lessons with the common sense and reasonable exceptions built in. Other local governments will develop and tailor solutions that best meet the unique needs of their own community. So this is one of those cases where local truly is not only better equipped to design the best policies, but really truly deserves the right to do so. This is an issue of local control, and I urge you to vote against Senate File 1195. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have?
Hello. Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Megan Kuhl-Stennes, and I am from Eureka Recycling, a nonprofit social enterprise located here in the Twin Cities. Our mission is to demonstrate that waste is completely preventable, and I am here to testify against the bill. We believe that zero waste creates numerous benefits for our state. We believe in the waste hierarchy, that reduction is best, and encouraging reduction and reuse is our best bet for our economy, our health, and our communities. Collectively, we need to stop using these products that litter our streets and waterways and expose us to toxins and carcinogens that should never have been used in the first place. Disposable bags are one such material that has been thoughtfully discussed in several cities in Minnesota over the past few years. This rule would effectively deny local communities their right to place any incentive to help us kick the bad habit of using disposable bags. Over 100 billion plastic bags are produced each year, and then 95% of them are thrown in the garbage to be burned or buried, or littered within an average of 12 minutes of receiving them. Additionally, the Minnesota It's in the Bag program has been discontinued and is no longer supported in Minnesota that recycles plastic bags. Both plastic bags and paper bags are resource intensive to make, to collect, and to recycle. Bans and fees on disposable bags have drastically helped reduce the use of single-use bags in communities who have implemented them. Residents of Minneapolis have yet to see the impact and incentive provided to rid ourselves of this bad disposable bag habit. Additionally, we are increasing the toxic load on our communities. A community should have access to every tool as they work to improve their environmental health and address the impacts of pollution, which often disproportionately affect low-income neighborhoods and communities of color. Bans and fees which have led to much less plastic bag litter in storm drains and local waterways Minnesotans value our lakes and waterways for recreation, food, and access to nature and beauty. Plastic litter is a nuisance, but when not cleaned up, plastic bags and other plastic products photodegrade into tiny plastic particles. These particles accumulate toxins and make their way up the food chain as they are mistakenly eaten by fish, and then we eat the fish. Reduction is key, and local communities should have the right to decide for themselves, not only because they are charged with handling the waste for their community, but for the long haul, for the future of our children and the choice to reduce their exposure to toxins as much as possible. I am also here with many other community members who are here to testify against the bill and would like to raise their voices. I urge you, please do not support this bill for the rights of all of our families to live in a safe, healthy Minnesota. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, we have 5 minutes for the testifiers, and so you need to take like 30 seconds, and it needs to be something that we have not heard before, something new that has not been testified to. So we'll start now, and and you are?
I'm Kyle Samajima.
Okay, and you are on the list, so welcome.
Thank you, thank you. So I am Kyle Samajima. I am a student of Sustainability and Communication at the University of Minnesota and also work at the Institute on the Environment. And I am here today as a citizen, as a parent of 3 daughters, to ask and urge you to vote against this bill. I work hard in my personal life and in my soon-to-be professional life to reduce our impact on the environment, to help Minnesota set an example for environmental stewardship. This is not just about recycling. It is about reducing our use of one-time products that end up in landfills, rivers, streams. You've gotten all that data. You've gotten all those stories. I'm here from my heart, from my passion, to ask you to vote against this. We need to set an example in Minnesota of the bipartisan environmental stewardship that has been a unique quality of our state, and I sincerely urge you to vote against this.
Thank you. And next we have, and remind we have, we're 5 minutes till we have questions. So, welcome.
Hi, thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I am here just as a resident.
Could you identify yourself for the
I'm
tape,
sorry.
please? And please, would you pull it forward so we can hear you? Thank you.
Is this better?
Wonderful.
Okay. My name is Charlotte La Victoire. I am here with my family, and I'm in opposition of this bill. I just wanted to say that I oppose it as a mother, as a community member. I really want to see Minneapolis lead in this area, and I'm really proud that our council members came up with this bill, and or ordinance rather, and I just wanted to say I'm in opposition, so thank you.
Thank you for being here. And next.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, proponents of this bill want to frame this
Sir, would you
issue-
identify yourself for the tape, please?
Yeah, my name is Forrest Tyson.
Thank
I'm
you.
a student and resident of Minneapolis. Proponents of this bill want to frame this issue as one of consumer choice and business rights. But as representatives of the great state of Minnesota, I ask you instead, focus on the public interest and the rights of citizens of our great state. Some consumers in Minnesota have already made a choice. Citizens of Minneapolis and local officials made the choice to ban plastic bags from their city. They realized, like citizens of more than 160 U.S. cities, that plastic bags are uneconomical, wasteful, and detrimental to both local and global environments. As a wildlife biologist, research assistant, I've personally witnessed the harm of plastic bags on wildlife. I've seen sea turtles choke on plastic bags. I've seen birds killed by stomach full of plastic litter. From Minneapolis to Duluth, Grand Marais, Bemidji, and Rochester, I've seen plastic bags caught in Minnesota lakes and rivers, Minnesota forests, and city sewers, and along rural highways. While plastic bag litter is ubiquitous, dealing with these bags is a local issue. The majority of plastic bags in Minneapolis are burned in the Hennepin County incinerator. The cost of plastic bags is not just in their production, but their cleanup, and local citizens and taxpayers absorb these costs. We cannot allow business interests to outweigh scarce local public resources. Companies' right to offer plastic bags should not be placed before the right of self-determination of local government. Consumer rights should not take priority over citizens' right to organize and protect their communities. I oppose this legislation as a resident of Minneapolis and Minnesota. I oppose this legislation as a young professional seeking to make my home here. I oppose this legislation as a part of a generation of people who have inherited a world far different than many of you and are looking to combat the irreversible destruction of our natural resources. I oppose this legislation as a global citizen. On behalf of the citizens of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and the world who desire a better society for the generations that will precede us, I ask you to oppose this legislation as well.
Thank you. And we have time for one more.
Thank you. Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'm Michael Stoic. I'm a working parent of 3 young children living in St. Paul. I teach biology and garbology at local colleges. If you haven't read garbology, I suggest you do so. There's a lot of universities require this for all of their freshmen coming into school. So future generations are going to know about this issue. And we are creating a law that will go against what they believe. Okay? We all know that hundreds of cities, even across the globe, have restricted the use of plastic bags. Even China restricts the use of plastic bags. The majority of the plastic bag is not recycled. You guys should use your energy and money and funds here to increase the recycling rates, not prevent local control of what plastics are being wasted. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Members, with that, we will, Senator Ingebrigtsen, would you stand for questions? Members, are there questions for Senator Ingebrigtsen? Senator Simonson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I feel like somebody should say something. And it's not necessarily a question so much as more just a comment before we get to this bill. I feel like this is not a debate or a discussion about the value of recycling so much as it is about intrusion on local control. And I have great respect for you, Senator Ingebrigtsen, and understand what's behind the bill. But I have a deep concern about what seems to be a few bills now taking away local authorities the ability to debate issues, engage with their constituents, and make local decisions. You know, if we look across Minnesota, members, we have about 87 counties, over 850 cities. I've lost count of how many townships, and each one of those is unique to itself. And I think about the perspective of a local elected official, whether it be a city council person or a county board member, township supervisor, and I think we would all agree that those are the levels of elected officials that's most directly related to their constituents. I mean, we each represent somewhere in the neighborhood of 80,000 people, and sometimes it's easy to lose sight of individuals and local issues. So I really am deeply concerned about taking away local autonomy. And for me, it's less about the issue or the subject at hand here as it is about stripping away that right or that ability for those local governments to have this debate. I've heard the arguments, and I don't necessarily disagree with some of them. I think some of their concerns are valid. But even when I think about one of the concerns is that if local governments are going to put in place a ban on plastic bags or impose a tax, that's going to create, a business climate that perhaps is not friendly between adjoining cities or other jurisdictions that are adjacent. And that may in fact be true, but I believe in my heart of hearts that local governments are having that exact same discussion and that exact same debate. And I'm not comfortable telling, the city of Grand Rapids or the city of Minneapolis or the city of Laverne that, you know what, I don't trust you to make that decision on behalf of your own constituents. I'm just not there. And again, I just wanted to go on record saying that I would oppose this for that particular reason. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Simonson. Are there any other comments or discussion on the bill? Senator Eichhorn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Ingebrigtsen. Another thing to think of here, in local government, a group, Merrick Inc., testified that they employ adults with developmental disabilities that do some of the recycling. And in my district and in Senator Tomasoni's district, we have such organization called Minnesota Diversified Industries that does that. They do a lot of wonderful things employing people with physical and mental disabilities. And, you know, these bag bans could certainly, you know, hurt their operations and their employment of people with disabilities. The other thing I've been hearing a lot about is local control. And while that's very important and I support local control, this is an issue where we can have the ultimate local control, which is the individual. It should be up to the individual to decide what type of bag they want to use. A lot of people, including myself, I'll bring a reusable bag. It's a good thing to do. But for that individual that wants to use a plastic bag, they may want to reuse it at home or whatever, I think we should support the ultimate local control, and that's the individual. Been hearing a lot about the different government entities and that type of thing, and that's fine, but again, I'm going to support this because, you know, your proposal would allow, again, the ultimate local control, which is the individual to decide. And so to that point, a question for you, you know, is the real environmental problem the plastic bag, or is it the people who litter?
Senator Ingebrigtsen.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and Senator, well, I think that's a good question. We have to self-manage ourselves, whatever we do. I mean, with the environment, you know, there was, but I think it's the individual. I mean, when I see a plastic bag hanging on a tree or a bush or something, and if it's safe for me to pull over the road, I actually stop the car and go out and get it. I mean, I don't like to see that any more than anybody else. I really truly don't, and. So, you know, there's certainly been a lot of discussions here today on how to do things and how not to do things, but a city-by-city approach with bans and fees is not the answer for Minnesotans, quite frankly. You can get, I think you're getting to the same point here as you're getting further with a carrot than a stick, and if we want to take care of our environment, we could do that. There was also a comment earlier that kind of struck me a little bit is that we're going to be leaving the future generation something that's by not banning this, we're going to leave them with something terrible. Frankly, there's a lot of us in this room on this committee that inherited the environment many years ago, and a lot of good things have gone on. They really have. I've had many testifiers before me in the 10 years that I've been here, and our river systems and our lakes are improving a lot. So we're doing a lot of good things to get to where we are. So we did inherit some things, and we did a lot of hard work getting there. And a lot of those people are sitting behind me here today that did a lot of hard work. But again, a lot of it is choice. And as far as state control, I appreciate Senator Simonson's comments. I'm also for local control, but there is a time and place when the state, I think, has to step up instead of having all these hodgepodge regulations throughout the state of Minnesota. They do come to us with these issues. For instance, raising local taxes. They come to the state of Minnesota to get permission to do that. I don't necessarily always agree with that, but I understand I understand that we would have I know we have a convoluted tax system the way it is throughout the state, and to add to it, sometimes the state has to step up and say, no, this is the reasons why we can't have this, and we have to do something different. So this is one of the ones I do agree with, and otherwise we're going to have patchwork of retailers throughout the state of Minnesota. They're going to have to deal with this, and I still think this is the best way to go.
Is there further discussion, members? Seeing no further discussion, we will lay Senate File 119 over for possible inclusion in the Senate Environment and Natural Resources Omnibus Bill.